Hey everyone, today I'm going to talk to you about David Ogilvy. David Ogilvy is considered the godfather of advertising. Warren Buffett has called him a genius, and his writing and lessons have timeless knowledge. Today we'll dive into insights from his book, Confessions of an Advertising Man. I hope you enjoy these lessons as much as I did. I admire people who hire subordinates who are good enough to succeed them. I pity people who are so insecure that they feel compelled to hire inferiors as their subordinates. I try to sustain the momentum of the agency, its ferment, its vitality, its forward thrust. This is one really interesting thing to me, how you can maintain forward thrust at your company. You hear David Ogilvy talking about this. That's one of his main focuses, is maintaining forward motion. For me, this is keeping up with projects. This is making sure things are advancing. Right now, it's about identifying the highest leverage actions that we can take to push the company forward. And you should make sure that you have your priorities crystal clear as the leader of your organization or a member of your team. You need to make sure you know what is going to keep the forward momentum. I try to build the agency by landing new accounts. At this point, the upturned faces in my audience look like baby birds waiting for the father bird to feed them. I try to win the confidence of our clients at their highest level. The majority of businessmen are incapable of original thinking because they are unable to escape from the tyranny of reason. Their imaginations are blocked. I am almost incapable of logical thought, but I have developed techniques for keeping open the telephone line to my unconscious in case that disorderly repository has anything to tell me. I hear a great deal of music. I am on friendly terms with John Barleycorn. I take long, hot baths. I garden. I go into retreat among the Amish. I watch birds. I go for long walks in the country. And I take frequent vacations so that my brain can lie fallow. No golf, no cocktail parties, no tennis, no bridge, no concentration, only a bicycle. While thus employed in doing nothing, I receive a constant stream of telegrams from my unconscious, and these become the raw material for my advertisements. But more is required: hard work, an open mind, and ungovernable curiosity. I love this insight that you do not hear very often, that spending time doing nothing is super important. This is how you get those creative ideas. This is how you really tap into your subconscious mind and allow yourself to reflect and have those key insights. Many great thinkers throughout history took time away, took time in nature. Here you can hear that from David Ogilvy. I have observed that no creative organization, whether in a research laboratory, a magazine, a Paris kitchen, or an advertising agency, will produce a great body of work unless it is led by a formidable individual. The Cavendish Laboratory at Cambridge was great because of Lord Rutherford. The New Yorker was great because of Ross. The Majestic was great because of Petard. So this is something we see a lot, that I notice with companies that perform well are often founder led, where the founder still has the ability to make the calls, make the decisions, and really drive things forward. So great individuals are what causes the success of great organizations, as well as the team. But Ogilvy is saying here that you don't see a great organization that is not led by a great individual. I never accept an account unless I believe that we can do a conspicuously better job than the previous agency. I love this one. Whenever I notice that we can do a way better job than the previous software development company for our clients, I'm stoked, because there's no better feeling as an entrepreneur than being able to knock it out of the park for your clients. It wasn't until Etsy Stowell joined us in 1957 that our agency began to acquire a reputation for strength in all departments. He had been executive vice president of Benton and Bowles, which was widely regarded as the best of all agencies in the marketing area. He was the symbol we required to offset my reputation as a mere copywriter. He was also a very able man. With a sigh of relief, I turned over to him the management of every department in the agency except the creative departments. From that point on, our agency began to grow in bigger chunks. I prefer clients for whom advertising is the breath of life. We then find ourselves operating at the indispensable heart of our client's business instead of on the frivolous fringe. There are certain steps you can take to reduce the turnover. First and foremost, you can devote your best brains to the service of your clients instead of diverting them in the pursuit of new ones. I have always forbidden my account executives to hunt new clients because it corrupts them like playing the horses. They start neglecting their present clients and the revolving door starts spinning. I've always tried to sit at the same side of the table as my clients, to see problems through their eyes. I buy shares in their company so that I can think like a member of their family. When I take a total view of their business, I'm better able to give them sound advice. If they would elect me to their board of directors, it would be even easier to identify myself with their best interests. With very few exceptions, I have loved my clients. If I hadn't become his advertising agent, I would never have made friends with Ted Moscoso, the great Puerto Rican who became American ambassador to Venezuela and head of the Alliance for Progress. My list of clients who became dear friends is a long one. I love this insight and I really take this to heart. I really believe the best of clients can become your best of friends. You should get involved, see things from your client's perspective, really make decisions that are in their best interests. And you'll find that your best clients become some of your best friends. And as long as you are always trying to provide them more and more value, just like you would do to a best friend, the relationship just flourishes and grows. When Arthur Houghton asked us to do the advertising for Steuben, he gave me a crystal clear directive. By the way, I'm going to make some mistakes on some of these names and brands because this is an old book and these are some older, European and some, I guess, British names as well. We make the best glass in the world. Your job is to make the best advertising. I replied, making perfect glass is very difficult. Even the Steuben craftsmen produce some imperfect pieces. Your inspectors break them. Making perfect advertisements is equally difficult. Here you can see David Ogilvy kind of highlighting that even the best have products that aren't up to par, and you have to continue to refine and work on it. You have to inspect and break the bad glass in order to produce the perfect product, right? Most young men in big corporations behave as if profit were not a function of time. When Jerry Lambert scored his first breakthrough with Listerine, he speeded up the whole process of marketing by dividing time into months. Instead of locking himself into annual plans, Lambert reviewed his advertising and profits every month. The result was that he made $25 million in 8 years, where it takes most people 12 times as long. Very few advertisements contain enough factual information to sell the product. This is a ludicrous tradition among copywriters that consumers aren't interested in facts, which is simply not true. It is tragically easy to be stampeded into change, but golden rewards await the advertiser who has the brains to create a coherent image and the stability to stick with it over a long period. As examples, I cite Campbell Soup, Ivory Soap, Esso, Betty Crocker, and Guinness Stout. The men who have been responsible for the advertising of these perennials have understood that every advertisement, every radio program, every TV commercial is not a one-time shot, but a long-term investment in the total personality of their brands. They have presented a consistent image to the world and grown rich in the process. The manufacturer who dedicates his advertising to building the most sharply defined personality for his brand will get the largest share of the market at the highest profit. I love this quote. The manufacturer who dedicates his advertising to building the most sharply defined personality for his brand will get the largest share of the market at the highest profit. You need to sharply define the personality of your brand and make sure every single swing you take reinforces that personality. Ogilvy, Benson, and Mather has a consistent point of view, a corporate opinion of what constitutes good advertising. My previous agency has none and consequently is rudderless. Whatever you're doing, you better have an opinion on the best way to do it. Otherwise, who is going to pay you to do that? When you want to be a leader in an industry, for example, is it a gasoline account? Read textbooks on chemistry, geology, and the distribution of petroleum products. Read all the trade journals in the field. Read all the research reports and marketing plans that your agency has ever written on the product. Spend Saturday mornings in service stations, pumping gasoline and talking to motorists. Visit your clients' refineries and research laboratories. Study the advertising of his competitors. At the end of the second year, you will know more about gasoline than your boss. You will be ready to succeed him. I have come to think that one of the most revealing signs of a young man's capacity is the use he makes of his vacations. Some fritter away those precious 3 weeks, while some get more out of them than all the rest of the year put together. I offer this recipe for refreshing vacations. Don't stay at home and putter around the house. You need a change of scene. Take your wife, but leave the children with a neighbor. Small fry are a pain in the neck of a vacation. Shut yourself off from exposure to advertising. Take a sleeping pill every night for the first 3 nights. Get plenty of fresh air and exercise. Read a book every day. 21 books in 3 weeks. I assume that you've already taken the Book of the Month Club's rapid reading course and that you can do 1,000 words a minute. Broaden your horizons by going abroad, even if you have to travel steerage, but don't travel so much that you come back cross and exhausted. So this is obviously some older advice. Don't see many people giving you advice to take sleeping pills the first 3 days of vacation. But you can see he's just saying unplug, pull away from your work, get exposed to other topics, refresh yourself, refresh your mind. Pick a subject about which your agency knows too little and make yourself an authority on it. Plan to write one good article every year and place it in the Harvard Business Review. Rewarding subjects, the psychology of retail pricing, the new ways to establish the optimum advertising budget, the use of advertising by politicians, obstacles which prevent international advertisers using the same campaigns all over the world, the conflict between reach and frequency in media planning. Once you become the acknowledged authority on any of these troublesome subjects, you will be able to write your own ticket. This is similar to his advice on studying to be an expert in the oil industry, but here you see, try to write one really insightful article every year on your field and continue to become more and more of an expert on your field. And once you're established as an expert in your field, you've got your ticket written. You're going to have more success than you dreamed of. People are going to want to call you to ask how to do business in this area, and you're going to be set. So I hope you really enjoyed these insights from David Ogilvy. I've been finishing up his 2 other books as well. So Ogilvy on Advertising and David Ogilvy Unpublished. That's all his writings that weren't actually put into books, but were compiled. So messages he sent to his team and his family. And you can really get a different side of him as an individual. So, I've always heard about David Ogilvy as an expert advertiser, and hearing that Warren Buffett studied him so closely and viewed him as a genius really got me interested in studying him in more detail. So I hope you enjoyed this. And yeah, time to get back to building. Cheers.